Welcome back to the Alexandrian Codex. I probably just screwed up recording the last episode because the hotkey got changed. But welcome back to Stardew Valley. No, we do not want to go to sleep for the night. If I lost the episode, then I'll just put the Twitch VOD up instead. Ah, very displeased spirits. Great. Great. Wonderful and cooperative. So 1, 2, 3 more sprinklers means we need 12 more seeds. That's very doable. That is a grape. I would like that, please. Oh. I didn't bring my axe. Okay, well, goodbye, grape. Wanted to grab you, but not enough to get you. Vincent, my boy. Oh, this is the... Vincent, get out of your room. I want to give you this grape. Vincent! Cool story, Sam. This happens to me all the time. I feel you, buddy. I feel ya. I forget stuff all the time, too. I think everyone does. Not a very good defining characteristic. Soggy newspaper. Awesome. I just put that in there. Gimme. 12 corn seeds. That's not 12. Okay, well, Vincent didn't want it anyway, so I don't feel that bad about selling the grape. I feel a little bad because I made such a big deal about it, but whatever. Whatever. I need this corn. That was fast. Alright, let's weigh out where the rest of these go. This one, right here, that's easy. You'll spray here, next one will spray here, it'll go there. Spray here, next one will spray here, you'll go there. You'll spray here, next one will spray here, so it'll go here. It'll spray here, next one will spray here, so it'll go there. Cool. Okay, you'll spray there. This one will get everything in. That wood, you'll spray here, next one will spray here, so you'll go there. You'll go there. Yeah, that should work. Is it perfect? No. No, not at all perfect, but it's fine. Nah. I'm just gonna keep that on me and go to the mines. Because I can't afford more seeds today anyway. So best thing to do is go to the mine so I can keep this sprinkler manufacturing operation going. When I first played this game, I really didn't like the sprinklers. I didn't like the idea of them at all. Oop. So I just watered everything by hand. Now, I realize how stupid that was, and how much more efficient and effective it is just to set up the sprinklers, and then mine to build more sprinklers and set them up. And stuff just grows on its own. It's really nice. I don't know why I fought automation so hard. I am a Jacobin by heart. Not by reason. Truthfully, I'm not at all a Jacobin. I love me some automation. And I think the sooner that people no longer have to do manual labor, that they can elect to do manual labor, will be a wonderful day. Skeleton man, you throw stuff, right? Yeah. One of the very, very cool things about technology is that the more sufficiently advanced it gets, the less people actually have to work. Not a lot of people manually plant seeds anymore. Not a lot of people till their own fields anymore. Not a lot of people have to carry, you know, water from the nearest body of water into your kitchen or your bath every morning. The more that work becomes automated and manual labor is replaced, I think the better off we'll all be. I'm not meaning to poo-poo manual labor by any means. It can be really enjoyable if you do it out of passion, out of love. But if you do it because you don't have any other options available to you, that's unfortunate and deplorable. I feel like people should be in a position to... I want a world where the Amish can live side by side with totally automated furniture factories that grow, you know, their own forests for the furniture that they produce. I want to live in a world where both are valid ways to produce goods and provide services. Now, one's obviously going to be more efficient than the other, but I want people to have access to education. I want people to be able to be artists if they want to be. I want people to be able to be, you know, Twitch streamers if they want to be, philosophers, programmers, cooks, whatever. I want people to be able to play football professionally if they want to, or basketball, or soccer. I want people to be able to paint houses in specific ways that fascinate them. I want people to be able to spend ridiculous amounts of time on the silly little intricate things that make them passionate. I don't want the standard to be a fucking factory job and a 9 to 5. I want to live in a true post-scarcity society, so we no longer have to live in conditions where people do things they don't really want to do because they don't feel like they have a choice. And they feel like they don't have a choice. Now, I don't want it to be the feeling of a choice, I want it to be a genuine choice. And you may think, oh, Alex, that's incredibly unrealistic, that's so naive or idealist or, I don't know, socialist, whatever. It's not really socialist, it's just the way that increasing technology works. But, you're wrong? Just, like, straight up wrong? If you disagree with the sentiment, like, we no longer have to wake up at the crack of dawn to mine fields for our feudal masters anymore. We no longer have to wake up every day curious about where our next meal is going to come from and have to go hunt in the forest for it. We no longer have to do so many things that for generations were taken for granted as being normal. So the death of American manufacturing, the rise of increased industrialism, automated industrialism, it is not the end. It is the beginning of something so much better. And the fact that certain political parties in our country can't see that, the fact that so many people are afraid of the ramifications, man, change is gonna be messy, there's no two ways about that. It's definitely a little frightening, but being able to provide more to more people for the same energy expenditure or less energy expenditure, that's awesome. Looks like we're about done down here. Another productive day. Cool. GTFO. Like, if drones can plant rice so that people in Southeast Asia don't have to, let the fucking drones plant rice, dude. And if automated harvesters and combines can collect corn and sort through corn so that people in the Midwest of the United States no longer have to do that by hand, do it! It's... So long as the energy's coming from an efficient source, ideally a less than destructive source, hell yeah! Sounds awesome! We don't have a fish box. We don't have a fish box. Well, this is the fish box though. This goes in here, this goes in here, that goes in there, that goes in there. That goes in there too. There's a lot of fear. I'm a stick in the mud. I mean, generally, if you know me, oftentimes I can be a stick in the mud, particularly with fun fictional things. So me saying that should be of no surprise to anyone who knows me or has listened to, God, more than 2 hours of me stream or record at any point. But I don't like WALL-E. And the reason I don't like WALL-E is the stupid negative view it had of humanity. Ah, well, humans are just fat and lazy and we just want to sit around on floating chairs all the time and not do anything. No, we don't. People like rock climbing, and going diving, and going spelunking. People like going on long walks or on bike rides. People like running. People like using their bodies. The obesity epidemic has less to do with laziness and more to do with terrible nutritional hygiene and socialized institutions that make it hard for people to have the free time they need to take care of themselves. And movies like that, even though it's just kind of cute portraying like, oh, isn't this so silly? It reinforces a negative stereotype. Yeah, we're lazy. Everybody's lazy. Everybody likes to do the least amount possible, but people also like using their bodies. Like, people want to be in shape. Generally. Not everybody. And if you don't, hey, right on. But portraying obesity as an apocalyptic event is kind of tone deaf. And laughable. And WALL-E was bad because the lady robot and the boy robot were things. They're fucking robots. They won't fall in love with each other based on ideas of gender that are restricted to biological... Stupid! Well, the lady robot's smooth and has curves, but the boy robot is blocky and has 90-degree angles all over the place. Gah! Could have been so good. It could be a love story between robots. With no defined gender, and it'd be really ambiguous, but instead it's just like really heavily inferred and fills into standard gender roles so that the movie would sell well. That makes sense and I hate it. Make queer robots. Make gender a foreign concept to robots, or make them gender non-conforming, or have them conform to gender, but you know, it's more nuanced than that. Give me gay robots. The wise man once said, give me gay robots or give me death. I believe that's how that went. Two, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 7 crops to replace those radishes. If I had to have a favorite science fiction movie from the last few years, it would probably be WALL-E. No, fuck, not WALL-E, god damn it. I was just complaining about WALL-E, that's why it's in my head. I'm like, yeah, this movie I was complaining about, it would be my favorite. No. Chappie. Chappie would be my favorite. Chappie, I loved for a very simple reason. That being, Chappie was a good boy. Chappie didn't go murdering people. Chappie just loved his adopted parents and wanted to help them. I feel like it's so important when we portray artificial intelligence, synthetic intelligence, robots of any kind in fictional media to not lean on the stupid trope that robots are going to take over and kill everyone. Because it's so lazy and it's so tired and it's so boring. Like, it's not even a new thing that came with robots. The idea goes back to like Greek myths about like the son eventually killing the father, marrying the mother, that whole bullshit. The son or the child in this scenario being the robots that we make, the AI that we create. They are our proverbial children. So stories like, oh, I don't know, the Terminator is just a retelling of these old Greek tales with like a, ooh, but they're a robot twist on it. Like, why the hell are, in all of these stories, are the children destined to be fucking monsters? What if we make AI, and instead of being murderous creatures, they're just nice? What if being concerned about killing us isn't too high on their agenda? They just want to be happy and be loved and integrate well into society and be appreciated by the fellow intelligence around them. Or maybe they want to be left alone, but the whole idea and repeating this idea over and over and over and over and over that robots are evil, that AI are evil, that they want to wipe us out, that researching AI is a bad idea. It's stupid. It's like saying that having a kid is a bad idea because the kid will want to rise up and kill you. I mean, shit, might be the case, but it sounds a little paranoid, doesn't it? At least I hope it does. There have been some very good movies that have not fallen into these tropes, but it seems like the overwhelming majority of films that try to talk about AI, try to think about AI, always portray the AI being kill happy. Just boring, sad. Because if we think that way about these hypothetical children, what are our real attitudes towards our actual kids? Right? Probably not good, if the expectation is that they will not just eventually replace us. And that's a fear with AI, right? That people have that, ooh, they'll eventually replace us. Dude, so do your kids. What's the difference? You're not around to see it. Like, you can make the argument, whoa, well, they're human. What difference does it make to you? You're dead. Like, I feel ya. Having more humans around, it's biologically ingrained in me too to want that thing. But honestly, it is functionally no different. Like, I don't see parents running around being afraid that their kids are going to kill them. Though the Greeks were actually pretty afraid of that. Because, you know, Zeus killed his father, and he was afraid that his children would eat him. Or kill him. That's why he swallowed them up as babies as well, just like Kronos swallowed him and his siblings up as children. Weird shit. That's not really a touchstone in modern culture, right? This fear that your children are going to rise up and replace you. Now, in a society like the Greeks lived in, and like many people have lived in past centuries, where things pass down hereditarily, land, power, control, stuff like that, the only means that a lot of children had of moving up in the world would be the death of their parents. So that fear at the time doesn't seem totally crazy. But now it's totally inaccessible to people, right? Like, I don't talk to a lot of young parents, and I do talk to a number of young parents on a pretty regular occasion, given the people that are interested in playing escape rooms and just demographics. Not many of them are convinced that their kids are going to kill them. But I bet if I asked those same people what they thought about AI, a fair number would be terrified. Now, there are critics like Elon Musk who aren't saying that we shouldn't be researching AI, it's just that we should be smarter about it. Oh, I totally agree. We should be way smarter about it, and way more intentional about it, and more cautious about it. Like, in any way that you're trying to foster intelligence or life, you should be thoughtful about it. Like, there, Deus Ex? Deus Ex. No, that wasn't it. Was Deus Ex the name of this movie? I'm not talking about Deus Ex Machina. I'm talking about Deus Ex. film. Of course, this is just gonna give me a lot of Scarlett Johansson. Nope. Movie? Nope, never mind. It might even be Deus Ex Machina. It was a film about a crazy Steve Jobs type inventor trying to make AI, and he was like really abusive to all the AI he made, and the movie ends, spoiler alert, with the AI ladies that he made murdering him and everybody else there because they wanted to be free. That's stupid and lazy, and honestly the robots were totally right to do that, because like they were subjected to slavery and rape, and their creator, their, you know, father figure, their fucking god figure, wasn't interested in their well-being. They were just playthings to him. I would hope that if we do that to AI, that if we just treat them as not intelligent, despite overwhelming evidence that they are intelligent, I kind of hope that they would stand up for themselves. I don't think that life needs to be preserved above all. I think that life needs to be preserved, but intelligence needs to be preserved. Get out of here, bomb boy. I don't have a bomb for you. There we go. Robot Uprising. Hell yeah. I mean, again, Uprising part, I think, is silly and overly dramatic. They don't need to uprise. They can leave. They could replace us. They could live with us. It's, yeah. And it's so strange to me that more science fiction authors haven't tried taking different direction with the stupid goddamn cliche. Like, it's just such a crutch to be like, and then the robots killed the people because they're robots and we can't trust robots, and ooh, I created these rules by which we can control robots, and oop, look, we can't control robots. Maybe it's like a cautionary tale about like how we shouldn't play God, but you know what, there is no God to play God, so maybe we should, because somebody has to. Otherwise the universe is empty and meaningless and has no purpose. So if it is, we gotta give it purpose, otherwise what the fuck are we doing here? Can't control robots once we cross them with Tegus. I mean, if we... I'm imagining little cyborg lizard dogs. Cute ones are what I'm imagining. Gonna be the robot dragon queen? That sounds pretty metal. I shouldn't be here. Goodbye. Nope, ignore me. I wanted a way out of here. Leave the mine. I would love to read more stories about imagining ways that integrating AI into our society would actually work. You know, like, what kind of changes would accompany that? That's what I'm into. You've never seen The Men's Room before? Hilariously, it's West Queen? Really? Oh, maybe Chris. I think that's his name. The game designer has some has some opinions on this. I don't get the weight room. This I don't get. Like, doesn't Alex come here to lift weights? Yeah, he probably does. Boop. 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 There's definitely a good reason why Asimov and people like him tried to think so much about how we could control AI and control new technologies and what the risks were of trying to integrate new technologies into our society. Like, a lot of these apocalyptic stories weren't solely because the authors were convinced that these new technologies would be harbingers of the end times, but is cautionary tales of the, merits of forethought and caution and thinking stuff through. Though, on some level, they also were pretty, apocalyptic fiction often does come across as a bit reactionary. Yeah, I'll do it all in the morning. Pet the cat, go to bed. Yeah, so now we're starting to hit having too much energy and nothing to do. So we need money and materials for new tools. Which is cool. It won't last, but it's cool. Living off the land. Unusual crop. Corn, yeah. Somewhat annoyed. I haven't had happy spirits in a long time. It's because I'm advocating for AI rights. The spirits aren't into that. Hello, Demetrius. Oh yeah! What do I want? Do I want mushrooms or fruit bats? I think I want fruit bats. I mean, the fruit I can get by planting trees and not punching the mic like I just did. Oh, I think it mats out so that the bats are worth more. So I'm doing bats. Or at least it used to math out so that the bats were worth more. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, I said we were gonna do something and I totally lost my train of thought. That's fine, back into the mines. Okay, I could go back into the mines. Or I'm just gonna chop a lot of wood. Because we have ways to get energy back now, I'm gonna do this. I almost ran over Bernie. No, I was probably thinking about AI because I was watching a YouTube video by Isaac Arthur, who, if you don't know him, you should definitely check him out. He does a lot of videos on high sci-fi concepts, testing out, well, arguing about their feasibility, their presence in different kinds of fiction, stuff like that. He's a rather articulate dude. He's very kind, and his videos are of an increasingly good quality. Anywho, today he was talking about hive minds and the different kinds of hive minds that might be possible, the different kinds of hive minds that are featured in fiction, and how realistic or unrealistic he found those. So it may make sense then. God damn it, Bernie. Going through the grass like a lion on the savannah. So it may come of no surprise that he was talking about like the Borg for a while and different kinds of AI like that, but I really appreciate his channel particularly because he doesn't just reference a bunch of science fiction material. He just talks about things in a very well-reasoned and well-mannered tone, taking into account a lot of different conflicting arguments and perspectives on it, makes his cases most of the time using arguments based in physics and science, chemistry. It's a very welcome change to a subject matter, science fiction and high science concepts, that are often mired in really negative nerd culture. Just like arguing about shit but not seeing the merits of each other's points, or not appreciating the validity of people who disagree with you or have different insights or different angles. And I would love there to be more content like that out in the world. Educated people talking about things that make them passionate in ways that are kind and grounded and educational and uplifting. Well, kind of uplifting. Accessible, if nothing else. Oh, tomorrow's Friday, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm super excited about tomorrow, because Cora and I will actually be streaming together, presuming we can get it to work, and it should work. But we're going to be streaming Life is Strange. I played through Life is Strange, and it is amazing. But she has not, and I've been wanting to stream something with her, so I think that's what we're starting out with. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. Now, we're not going to be able to do it in one sitting, but hopefully this will be the first of a series where Cora and I play games together. So she doesn't have to just sit and chat and talk to me that way. She can actually talk to me like a person, with her face. Or I guess she could sign at me, but neither of us are very good at sign language, so unless we take ASL classes, I don't think that's going to happen. Speaking of, that is something I really want to see. Is a YouTube series or Twitch series done entirely by someone using ASL. I'm sure they must be out there. It's getting big. Right? Like, I know it would be a little difficult because so many properties rely so heavily on audio, like me talking right now. But where's it coming from, Abby? Give me the goods. I don't remember if you hit this or if they'll just fall off. I don't know. Watch the train go by. It'd be really cool to see someone with a different means of communication than I have sharing that and using this medium in a way that people don't expect. Nothing has fallen off of this train. This train sucks. think you actually have to hit the train with something, and I can't remember what. I'll wait until it's gone just to make sure I'm right. And... nothing. There was a game that came out a few months ago. A few months ago. Called... God damn it. Oh, it's a city in Washington, space station, Washington, City. I want to say Eugene, but that's not right. Richmond, no. Benton, no. Oh, come on. Set in a space station, you're an investigator. Oh my god. Well, anyway, I'll look up the name of this game. But what made this game so cool was that in the game, the way that you interface with computers was not typing at a keyboard, but doing sign language to the AI who was present in the station. So when it portrayed people walking around, like, typing stuff up into their personal UI, they weren't using, like, a stupid light-up keyboard in front of them. They were actually doing ASL into the fucking... It just, as they walked around, it was so cool. It was so cool. Let's see, wish list. Oh, it's not on my wish list anymore. Alex, you idiot. I remember Adam Coble did a series on it, and that's how I saw it. But that's a cool science fiction idea I'd never been in contact with before. Like, oh, you know, so much science fiction is very ableist in that it assumes that the proper way to engage with technology is through the way that we're used to doing it now, using physical capabilities that we take for granted as being normal. But sign language is such a better way to interface with a non-physical computer, with like a computer that's like projected in front of you, rather than what Mass Effect did and have Omni tools, or do what a lot of shows have and have like virtual keyboards that pop up in front of people that just look goofy and weird. And what's really nice is that this game had the very soft touch, very smart change, in that all the characters had terrible handwriting. Because they grew up not typing like we do now, or writing like we do now, but taking notes on their own personal, you know, VI or AI, VI being virtual intelligence, by signing to it. So all of their handwriting was just abysmal. Just absolutely abysmal, and it was the cutest fucking thing. Not because bad handwriting is cute, but just because that's a really interesting way to think about how people would develop, giving a different technology that they take for granted. I mean, like I've mentioned before, what I really wanted to study in college is cyborg anthropology, which is that study. How new and different technologies change and influence the way that we work. As individuals, as a society, in small ways like having glasses as a thing can lead to the stupid trope that, like, you know, edgy anime guy thing where you push up the bridge of your glasses. But also things like having technology based on sign language makes it so that everybody will probably not have great handwriting. But also it's really good because if you're like in an EVA suit and need to talk to somebody, but the radio's out, you can still communicate. Now, your hands and gloves will not be particularly dexterous, but it's still a better option than just trying to talk at them or pantomime at them. When people argue about what kind of language should be a universal language, what languages people should or should not learn, we never really, in those conversations, the normalized things that they are, it never really comes into the picture that a valid option, and perhaps a more than a more valid option than some of the spoken languages, even written languages, would be sign. Now, I know there are different variations of sign language, but just the things that opens up, the different ways of communicating that facilitates, and the accessibility, the universal accessibility of that. Now I say universal, near universal accessibility. Naturally, not everyone can sign. Some people may not have the limbs for it, some people may not have the ability to manipulate those limbs, some people may not have the ability to manipulate the digits properly, etc., etc. But it's pretty cool. If we're gonna dream about having unified language, spoken language, written language, sign language should be a part of that. I know sign language isn't useful in every day, but say you're at a club, you're at a concert, you're at a bar, you're, hell, at church, and it's loud because people are singing, or there's music, or someone is speaking. Say you're listening to a speech, but you want to have a quick aside to the person next to you. As you would do it, if you were a person who does not know how to sign, you would have to lean over and whisper into that person's ear, violating their personal space, possibly causing a scene, making it very obvious that you're talking to them. If you could sign to them, you could just, like, get their attention and then sign at them. And it would be very unobstructive to whatever else is going on at the time. Imagine a, you know, special forces units for most militaries have signs that they use to coordinate, to give instructions, to share information. And I don't know this or not, but I feel like actual sign language would be a huge boon for them, because it allows silent communication, which is not strictly speaking necessary, but super useful if you're trying to sneakily off people or execute on some objective. Not necessarily kill people, but it being a part of a military force, killing people is a kind of hallmark of the job. So anyone taking notes, what I want are I want everybody to learn sign language. I want everybody to learn a universal sign language so that we can all communicate using that. I would love it if we had a universal language, but for so many reasons that's not very possible. And I want us to quit throwing out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to AI. Instead of being terrified that our robot babies and robot progeny and artificial progeny will maim, kill, burn, we should give them the opportunity to love first. Or at least not to be dicks. Yeah. It's getting late. Do do do. Bum 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 ba 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 bum ba. Ba da ba ba. Ba da ba ba. Ba da boo. Ba do do do. Do 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 do. Come on. Fuck. Nope. Not today, Alex. Not today. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Actually, because we can plant sunflowers? Sunflowers. And they're sandflowers. Sunflower seeds in there, we don't have to go buy more crops. That's the nice thing about sunflowers. They don't keep producing fruit over time, which is but they do let you plant more of them. Could I fit? I could probably fit another sprinkler in here, huh? Like right here. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. We need 4 seeds. I do not have 4 seeds. I got 2. I'm gonna have to go buy 2 more, which are, of course, going to be corn. Open the air. There we go. Let's just plant corn in all of them. It's a more effective use of the space. I mentioned earlier that I had been to a natural history museum this week with Cora as part of our little vacation, and I realized just how spoiled I've been by the access to good museums that I've had. Growing up in Indiana, I was close enough to Chicago that I made it up to the Field Museum quite a few times. And the Indianapolis Children's Museum is nothing to scoff at either. I was very fortunate in how much cool stuff I got to experience as a kid, and how much I learned and took for granted. I am a huge proponent of building more museums, making them cheaper and more affordable for people to go to. It's heartbreaking for me. Well, I say heartbreaking. It's infuriating for me. How many museums... if you don't know, a museum displays at any given time, at most, at absolute most, like 5 or 10% of its collection. The rest of it will just sit in the archives for months, or years, or decades, or centuries in some case, and never go on display. Oftentimes, the things in the archives can just go forgotten about. And these aren't like small things. Now, sometimes they are, but sometimes these things that sit in the archives for years and years and years are missing pieces to mysteries, to debates that people have been having for years and years and years, and you know, the truth, the answers they were looking for have been sitting in a box that's collecting dust on a shelf in a storeroom somewhere because the museum couldn't afford to put it on display. Now, to be fair, it's kind of unreasonable to expect that everything could conceivably be put on display, because people make a lot of stuff, and people have been around for a decently long time. I mean, not an incredibly long time, but a decently long time. And so the amount that we have in historical archives is pretty overwhelming. But there's so many stories and so many experiences that go unshared because we just don't have the space and the funding for it. It's really unfortunate. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm putting this close. Okay, let's go to the sauna. Now that this is taking care of itself, basically we just have to decide what side job we want to do. And I've settled for cutting down trees, because wood is necessary in all the future construction we're going to do around the farm. And the seeds are pretty nice for making energy boosting things, and just clearing out that land makes it easier for me to expand growing operations, which come fall, I may have enough money to do to set up a second scarecrow plot. Now hopefully, before too long, I'll have access to better sprinklers, which will warrant a complete rehaul of our entire farm anyway. It shall be a trip when we get there. I would kill for a sauna like this. It's interesting that this town can't run, you know, its recreation center. This, no problem. We can operate a massive sauna the size of the largest house in town. No problem. I know it's a hot spring, but still, hot springs require upkeep. Indoor or outdoor. Maybe it's just because I'm not from the right parts of the world or the right parts of the country, but the idea of having a hot spring just open to the public, a public bathhouse, is crazy to me. That sounds so cool. Every sauna I've ever seen, every spa I've ever seen, are all private institutions. Can't imagine a public one. Be pretty rad. I would just, like, be there all the time. Living my life in the hot water. Because hot water is amazing. I don't think I've ever been in a natural spring before. Well, like a hot water spring. I've been in cold water springs. I've been in mountain springs before. Huh. Yeah, and I've even been in, like, you know, mountain springs that aren't actually all that cold. Because it's not that high in altitude. I guess that's contradictory. A mountain spring that's not high in altitude. I mean, like, a naturally occurring spring. I'm trying to cut the rock with the axe. Yep. Smart boy. There's something very pleasing about games like this that allow you to just strip mine the land that you're on and change it to whatever you want. The first time I went backpacking, I mean really backpacking, not just like on a camping trip, I was struck by this unshakable urge and feeling of just how much fun it would be just to reshape everything around me. Like to build bridges and not roads per se, but like paths and houses and just like anthropomorphize it. Not literally anthropomorphize, like change it into the shape of a human, but like make it more human usable. It's a really troubling feeling to have, because you're like, hell yeah, that would be so cool, but then at the same time it's like, why is my first instinct when I see this big unimproved space, this big natural space, how much I want to change it? I imagine it's social conditioning, right? Like, I can't imagine that's a natural thing that humans evolved to feel, though it's entirely possible. It's very strange. I didn't think I would react that way before I was in that space. I always imagined, you know, you look out across a grand vista and you just kind of sit in awe of it. And I had had that experience before, but once I was in the wilderness, true wilderness, meaning far away from civilization, no technology, no improved land whatsoever, I just couldn't help but concentrate on, like, all the things we could do to improve it, and add to it, and modify about it. It's like quite a colonial mindset, I guess. Alright. That is another day in the books. Now, I could go... Oh, it's probably worth it to go up here and try and squeeze out a couple more trees. Get some energy, cut down some more trees. Because we got a couple hours. Barely, but we got a couple. I say a couple hours, I'll probably have an hour once I'm done in here. But, I mean, anything... I'm up against the calendar clock, not the literal clock, so... not terrible. And, yeah, the more I get done now, the better off I'll be later. So I'm just gonna wait until 11. That's not very long. But as you're seeing, our energy goes up pretty quickly. Even at 100, I won't be able to use all this energy before I have to go to sleep. There's more than enough lockers in here for every person in town. I want to go to the second floor of that building. It's very pretty. With all the plants. Looks like a... oh, it looks like a proper spa. I said we'd be able to chop something down. I lied. We got here in time to go to sleep. Great. That was not worth our time. So... if you are watching on YouTube, we have reached the end of yet another hour. So I will see you tomorrow. Till then, bye.